The 2020 FIA certified Gran Turismo Championships Grand Final for the Nations Cup is about to get underway here in Sydney, Australia, and here's how the grid lines up.
So Jonathan Wong then, of course, our winner in the last race, takes the pole position. Can he convert that to a win here in Sydney? Baptiste Beauvoir, who was so strong in semi-final A, starts in second place. Behind him, the first of two Australians, Cody, Nikola, Latkovski. A big cheer from the audience there. Takuma Miyazono, the incredibly fast Japanese driver, starting in fourth. Then in fifth, we have PATRIK, BLAZSAN. Good result for him, watch out for him. Very quick in that X2019. Then in sixth, the second French driver, Red Bull there, in the blue liveried X2010. Then Dani Solis, who had such a great race in semi-final B, in seventh place. Then going down the grid, Maraclino, of course, our Italian commentators on their feet as we see him go by. And it's Sugawara in ninth position, starting off in ninth there. And then down in 10th, Coque Lopez. He's always in the final, it seems. Can he finally get onto the podium? Then in 11th place is Matt Simmons, mid-match, you know him online there. Great to see him in the final. Adam Siswillow just about sneaking into the final there in 12th in that British Racing Green X2019.
Giving us something to shout about for the British commentators at last, thankfully.
Yeah, finally. Cheers, Adam. Appreciate that, mate.
First look at the tyre strategies. You can see everybody either starting on the medium or the hard tyres. Only Takuma Miyazono and Coque Lopez on the harder compound of tyre. Everybody else opting for the mediums. So let's see how it's all going to play out for these drivers. Our hot pick for this race, Cody Nikola Latkovski, starting from P3, the head of the second row of the grid. Did an absolutely brilliant job in that semi-final B race we just had to finish in second position. He starts from the head of the second row of the grid. How is it all going to play out at the end of this 30-lap race?
Now we'll see. Miyazono is a bit of a diva when it comes to strategies. Watch out for him. He's starting P4 in the hard compound of tyre, but long race here at Dragon Trail, 30 laps. All about consistency, all about concentration, all about speed as we come then to the start-finish line to start off our first grand final of the year. World Tour 2020 Sydney, the GT World Championships are about to go green, and here we are then, lights out, and Jonathan Wong will lead us away, and immediately Beauvoir pulls into the slipstream, as does Cody Latkovski in the background. The two Japanese driver and PATRIK BLAZSAN are very close already. Cody looking up the inside, he's going to try both of them. No, he doesn't, just about keeps it there on the inside of Beauvoir. A little bit of side-to-side contact with Cody going out wide. He'll be on the outside here for the right-hander. Baptiste will have the line, but Cody goes up into second place, so an overtake there for Cody. He wants to get up after Jonathan Wong as quick as he can. We know Cody is quick in the X2019. He wants to get his clear track and get into the draft as soon as possible. Dani Solis losing a place down into seventh place, but other than that, it seems business as usual. Matt Simmons, though, fighting there in 8th and 9th place, and Sugawara losing places all the time. Adam Siswillow already, I'll say already up into 8th place there, but I think our timing squad's having a little bit of a mad 5 minutes.
Yeah, exactly. I think you're spot on there, Jimmy. I think Beauvoir's had a bit of a moment because he's down in 11th according to those timing screens. Let's see what happens. Yeah, he's dropped down to 12th position, so Baptiste Beauvoir, it has gone very much southward.
I think it's been a spin, look in the map.
The middle, yeah, I think you're absolutely spot on. Yeah, there was contact between himself and Randaroo, so the two Frenchmen clearly coming together. That will not please our French commentators back at base in London at the moment. Let's see if we can get a replay of what happened, but it's been a shocker of a first lap, a shocker of a start to the grand final for Baptiste Beauvoir, and all of his hard work, all of his great performances that he put in to take that win in semi-final A come undone. And you can see Takuma Miyazono wants to go ugly early, get those hard tyres off as soon as he possibly can, get onto the mediums for a long stint in this race.
Now this might not work now, because I don't think Takuma Miyazono accounted for the fact that Siswillow and Beauvoir are now going to be probably where he is when he comes out on the circuit. He wanted a clear track to try and make the most of the medium compound of tyre. It seems everyone's going for the soft at the end, so here's a replay. Matt Simmons goes wide. Oh, Matt. And then Adam just pinballs back across the circuit. That all happened because Matt Simmons got it all wrong there, so I would not be surprised if we see a penalty. Of course, it wasn't intentional, but doesn't matter, you're in control of the car, and that's ruined Adam's race. Meanwhile, Dani Solis moved up into third place there in the medium compound tyre. Every car currently on the same compound, so just a matter of trying to keep things nice and consistent right now. Looking back there, now we've been told by our trusty race director Toyo that we're probably going to be seeing a fuel-saving race, a slipstream race. As you said at the start of the race, Tom, 15 laps you'll get out of a tank here. Race is 30. If you're being too aggressive, you might actually end up not making it to the line on one stop. So there'll be a bit of lifting and coasting. And right now, Dani Solis is acting as a sort of punching through the air a bit. Saying that, he's let Ryan Darouche through. I think maybe a little bit slow out of the chicane of death, TM. And maybe he's going to let Ryan punch the hole for a while.
Yeah, maybe that is the strategy he's going for. You can see Marcolino also battling with Tatsuya Sugawara, who's had a shocker of an opening stage in this race, as has Takuma Miyazono down in 9th position, so it's not going the way of the Japanese drivers at all in this race, down in 7th and 9th position respectively. Incident involving BLAZSAN and Sugawara. Clearly those two have made contact at some point over the course of this one. No further action following that incident.
Well, Miyazono put it on.
Of course he did, sorry. Right,
so he's probably... we have to see what sort of mad strategy he's thought up this time. Of course, cast your mind back to New York last year, and he nearly won the entire race. Apart from this man, actually, I think murdered him would be the right thing to say. Really, there was a big incident back there, but we'll forget that. That's in the past now. I'm sure Cody has too, and he's now trying to track down Jonathan Wong. You can see just how much quicker Cody is using that draft now, coming down to one of the best overtaking slots on the course. It's downhill. You have to brake a little bit earlier than you usually would. Chuck it to the inside, use the downforce of this car. Although saying that, at this speed, there's not much downforce going over, not much air going over the car, so the car becomes very sick. Look at this onboard through here. Chicane of death. Look at that right foot. Completely flat through the entire thing. Almost touched the wall on the left there. That's how you do it. This is why these guys are the pros.
Sensation of speed through there is unbelievable, isn't it? You can see him really closing down now, Cody, Nikola, Latkovski, onto the back of Jonathan Wong through that right-hander. That's the corner that I always really struggle with at this track because it's such a late apex going through there. It's almost like a reverse version of Surtees at Brands Hatch, really. And it launches you onto this start-finish straight. You keep it pinned through this right-hander. Then you have to go hard onto the anchors, slow it down, and get it all settled for the beginning of this lap. And you can see Cody doing a really good job of that, and these two breaking a bit of a gap out to Randarouche. Now here's what happened between Beauvoir. This was, I think, in the opening stage of this race on the opening lap between himself and Randarouche. I think we're going to see Rand coming in with a bit of a punt here.
This was the overtake for second place. I think Cody there just had a better run on the exit. You see there, just a tiny bit better through there, and as a result, was able to just pull up ahead and get through. But we're still not sure what happened to Beauvoir. We're still watching replay now. In the background, BLAZSAN goes a little bit wide, but it's not much revealed there from that replay, unfortunately. But Darish is still there. He's still in 3rd place, so there is still hope, of course, for the Frenchman here. Everyone at home supporting the French stream. Of course, if you are a Frenchman and wondering, I can't understand anything with this, guys, we are actually broadcasting in 7 different languages. So you can find those all on the Gran Turismo TV YouTube channel. Maybe hang a subscribe while you're there as well.
And click the get notifications on as well, and see all of our exclusive GT content coming your way over the next few weeks and months. Now, Danny Solis not doing a bad job sitting there in P4 at the moment. He's keeping close to Randarouche, soaking up the pressure from behind of PATRIK BLAZSAN. And a note also to PATRIK BLAZSAN, this is a really strong performance from him. Of course, he took that podium in superb style in the grand final. Himself and Baptiste Beauvoir were squabbling for position in these Red Bull X2019 cars. He's a driver who, clearly, BLAZSAN loves these high downforce cars. And that's one of the interesting things about these here, Jimmy, because you can meet some drivers, they like the high downforce cars, other drivers don't.
Yeah, I love the high downforce cars. They mask my lack of skill, so that's why I like them. But we're on board now with PATRIK BLAZSAN, and you're seeing right now, you might have saw on the straight that Darish actually tried to break the toe coming down the T1. He knows that right now, again, he's punching the hole, but really, it's very tricky to do that round here because these cars, as advanced as they are in terms of aero, they punch a big old hole in the air when you're going through it, which means anyone behind you is effectively not having to face the friction you have, and they get a bit of a speed boost going down the straight, as you're seeing now illustrated by PATRIK BLAZSAN. 306, 310, 315 k's in 21 an hour, snaps out of a slipstream. That was about as aggressive you can get there, and that was perfectly timed. That was clinical from PATRIK BLAZSAN. That's exactly how you do it. That reaction time, that was amazing.
Phenomenal. I love seeing that from PATRIK BLAZSAN. The thing is, he didn't show any emotion either. He always looks so calm and cool with everything that he does. I saw him smiling the other day and I wondered...
are you okay?
Exactly. I was like, are you all right there, PATRIK? And he's fine. Look at this, though. Look at this. Just a snap out. Oh, so aggressive. Late on the brakes, on the ragged edge of retardation on the brakes, through into 4th place. Brilliant.
You love to see it. You love to see it. And now, already, right into the chase of Randarouche in front. And PATRIK, I think he's got the bit between his teeth right now. But the thing is, this is what you've got to think. Do you want to get past the Frenchman in front? And do you want to be the pace setter? Or do you want to stay where you are? Lift a little bit, coast a little bit, make sure that you're not going over that fuel. That might be an issue later on in the race.
Well, you talk about them punching a hole in the air on the straights, and sure, that is true. But the converse, obviously, is also true when you're in a corner. You're in that dirty air, that turbulent air. It's causing the front to wash wide. So as you come down into these S-bends, it's not the position you want to be in either. So it's oranges and apples, isn't it, really?
You say that, though, he still manages to gain on Rayan through there, so maybe not a good run there from the Frenchman. And now, again, the draft coming into play. Look at the speed just gain. You're nearly 200 miles an hour before braking here. Big coast there from Patrick BLAZSAN. You see, just got off the throttle, let the car just go to the bottom of the hill, then got on the brakes. He's saving fuel.
Short shifting as well.
Yeah, short shifting as well. Good spot there, Tom. So, really, I think he's playing the long game.
Through that chicane then. Does he have a little lift into there? No.
Not a chance.
Fully committed. Of course he is. It's BLAZSAN. Look at Darush though, going defensive. He knows that BLAZSAN is behind. He's trying to upset him here, but ultimately that just cost Darush time there. It's costing him concentration. He's gone a little bit wide going into that final corner. Gathers it all up though, but he's clearly under a bit of pressure. And Rayan, that was just a little bit unnecessary, I feel, from his point of view there.
I think maybe he's not aware that Patrick is saving fuel, because imagine you're in his position, right? You look in your mirror, one minute Solis is there, next minute BLAZSAN's there. He's coming through the field, think, oh no, he's not wanting this place too. Thing is, I think that Rayan is probably actually in the weakest position despite being third on track right now, because he's not getting any opportunity to save fuel, no draft, not getting any opportunity to slipstream either, whereas all these guys behind are having that. Now, also, front of the field, we've not really checked in with them for a while. Jonathan Wong and Cody and Nikola Latkovski, they're still only half a second apart, but I think we have the same story here, same thing going on, where Cody is just lifting and coasting. And then what we'll see is when they do come into a pit stop, and when fuel is eventually added to the car, he'll be in for a shorter stop. He might even jump in from the pit stop at this point, but we're getting ahead of ourselves a bit. We'll have to wait and see what happens there. Great view here back from Jonathan Wong's X2019. Watch this, through the chicane of death here. Both of them absolutely committed. You get a real sense of speed. Look at that wall flash by on the left and right. One small mistake through there. Big repair bill. Here comes Cody.
Yep, really close now is Cody Latkovski. He's just going to lift off though, just keeping it careful. There's no point even trying to find the way past, do anything rash at this stage. What he needs to do is force Jonathan Wong into a mistake if he's going to try and find his way through. But at the moment, these two are doing a good job of just working together, just keeping that gap at a constant to Patrick BLAZSAN there. 5.2 seconds it sits at. I'm going to keep an eye on the times actually over the next couple of laps or so between these guys and see how much faster Patrick BLAZSAN is, because everybody at this moment in this race is on exactly the same strategy, or not the same strategy, but all on the same tyres. They're all on the medium tyres, so it is down to driver skill and of course track position as to what sort of times you're going to be setting.
Yes, definitely. It's all about where your car is placed and how you're doing. So we're getting some great onboard telemetry now from Cody. There he is on the left, just having a little chat with himself, probably just keying himself up a little bit, just telling himself, right, okay, concentrate, make sure you're in the right part of the circuit, just reminding himself of his pit strategy as well. And let's watch again that green bar on the right-hand side of the wheel. Let's see if he lifts coming down the hill here. Let's have a look. No, he doesn't. So he's actually right now just doing his best to stay with Jonathan Wong. Maybe he's short shifting a little bit, doing a little bit out there for the sake of grip. There's a little short shift there coming into the chicane. So I think he's doing it in different places. Lifting and coasting is probably the most efficient way to save fuel, but you can do it by short shifting too. So everyone playing the long game here.
Wong there as well, just went a little bit wide coming out of that corner. Now here's a replay of something that went on. I wonder if this is Randarouche clearly being attacked by Danny Solis side by side, and Solis going way too late on the brakes. That's going to cost him the position to Salvatore Maraclino there as well, and contact to boot. Oh, Sugawara getting involved there as well. So contact between Maraclino and Solis as Maraclino got all out of shape coming through that corner.
What happened there? Because BLAZSAN was behind Darush. Something's happened, of course, for Darush before then, so he's made a couple of mistakes. He's pitted in now, I think, to get rid of his tyres. Maybe they were shot. And Miyazono has gone onto the soft compound of tyre.
But where's he going to emerge out? That's the thing.
He's going to do it. He's going to do it again. He's going to go for the spar strategy. I'm telling you right now, on a soft compound of tyre, he's going to fill it up, I think, or put as much fuel in as possible, and then just go hard until the end. He's going to have to make one more stop than anybody else, but he's going to be an absolute missile coming through the field, so we've got to keep an eye on him now. He tried something similar at Spa last year at New York. It nearly worked. It might work here.
It's possible. Let's see how he goes then, Miyazono. He can now afford, as you said, Jimmy, to go flat out to the finish, unlike anybody else. If he does indeed go for that strategy, because, well, doing the race on this set of soft tyres, that's 21 laps. That's nearly impossible. It is probably impossible.
He'll need a fuel stop as well.
Yeah.
He's not going to be able to make it on fuel, so there'll be one more stop guaranteed for Miyazono. He is the one to watch. If you're at home in the audience right now, keep an eye on that gap. So just a reminder, 15 laps is how much will they start with. of course, they have to put in 15 more laps to get to the end. Here's Matt Simmons, our Aussie driver, up into 6th.
Well, he must have taken some fuel on board there, Miyazono, because it becomes the end of that fuel life if it's only 15 laps that you can get in the car. We're on lap 9 already.
He did put some in, yeah. So I think he's going to try and just 2-stop it instead of the 1-stop. So we'll see, of course. So he's always one to make us question how the hell strategy works in this game, and he goes out and just makes it look easy. So, meanwhile, these guys are all drafting each other still at the moment. PATRIK has actually broken away from the pack, so I think he's now just trying to speed up a little bit. And Dariush is coming again, straight away. It's gone to the soft compounder tyre. He's doing the same thing. They're all going to try the 2-stop. Or the 3-stop, I should say, sorry.
Interesting strategy call for these guys there then. So, Matthew Simmons, we can see him now. We're riding on board with the Australian driver. Had a bit of a torrid start to that race, following an off-track excursion, taking out Adam Saswillo here then as well.
So here is Matt Simmons. Oh, well, who's that? That was slow. That was Danny Solid slow there through the chicane, and Matt Simmons takes advantage. So does Sugawara. So there's a mistake there from the American driver, and Saswillo coming back through the field. Now, he's not pitted yet either, so he's trying to get involved in the action. Goes up the inside to Sugawara, tries to anyway. They're side by side. Simmons sideways out of the right hand. That's going to slow him down coming into the chicane. Saswillo has to duck back in behind Sugawara. You cannot go 2x2 through here. You will have a crash, quite a big one at that as well. And now Solis has gone from 4th down to 8th place. So a big mistake there from the American. What happens? Here we are. Sorry, he was in 5th position. He comes down the hill here, comes through the chicane. Oh, just catches the curb. Oh, well saved there, Danny. Just about kept that face in the right way. But the result, of course, loss in speed and loss of position.
Well then, that just goes to show how quickly things can change. One small mistake can cost you a loss, and it cost him quite dearly there, Danny Solis. Running on board now with Matt Simmons. Here comes Adam Saswillo, diving, lunging down the inside. What a move there from Adam Saswillo. That was absolutely phenomenal from the British driver, up now into P5 on lap 11 in the grand final for the Nations Cup. Now he's got a bit of clear track in front of him on that medium compound tyre. He hasn't pitted, of course, as has nobody else in front or behind him on the road currently at the moment, as you can see. So let's see how things are going to play out.
Bear in mind, this was the man that was last not too long ago. He has been absolutely charging since then. This is a man with a bit between his teeth at the moment.
He was right the fastest man on the track up until Takuma Miyazono just got into the 1:19.
So yeah, exactly. So we're looking at the last lap times right now.
Oh, hang on, there's Matt Simmons. There you go. You can just see him going off the track there. And that was just a replay, as we just saw.
So everyone at the moment, bar Takuma Miyazono, the missile, as we've named him for this race, is doing 21s. 21.6 is the best lap time apart from that. Miyazono's on a 19.7. So he is nearly 2 seconds a lap faster than anyone else on the circuit right now. He is going to have to make an extra pit stop. It's going to be interesting to see how this plays out.
Certainly is. Here is Jonathan Wong, again, still with Cody Nikola Latkovski. Towing him in. He's got the magnets on, trying to find his way past, but he's just not able to do so at the moment. I don't think Cody's doing too much of an attacking job at the moment, and also Jonathan Wong, as you can see, not doing too much in terms of defending. Those two just working together quite nicely. They've still got that gap to PATRIK BLAZSAN at quite a consistent 5 seconds there and thereabouts, and over the last couple of laps or so it's come down to just a couple of tenths or so, but nothing really worth writing home about. And all these guys, of course, have not made any pit stops in this race. They're going to have to do it quite soon because they're going to be coming to the end of their fuel life, if nothing else.
Yeah, don't fret though, of course, if you're a Cody fan. I think this is very much a manufactured gap, and you see that right now he just closes 2 seconds there, I mean, just not breaking his leg. So he's just trying to keep that car alive as much as possible. Again, Miyazono now still on a charge. His last lap was nearly identical. His best lap was a 1:19.7 flat. This lap was a 1:19.719, so 19 thousandths slower, but still, again, 2 seconds a lap faster than anybody else. I'm going to enjoy watching this one. Here we are on board. Now watch his commitment. Look how late he brakes there, machine gunning down through the gears on the power nicely. He smashes the throttle and exit, uses all the road, and now through the fast chicane there'll be no hint of a lift. I bet my life on it through here. Nice and easy. There you go. And you see there, just 130 BPM right now. His heart rate is actually a bit higher than mine, which is impressive, because I usually have a heart attack on these broadcasts, according to my Fitbit anyway. Coming down now to the last corner. Look at that perfection. The line, that is beautiful through there, using all the circuit, and so smooth as well. It's so important to be smooth in these cars.
I just love watching these drivers in the zone. I mean, I had a go in one of the Group 4 cars in the Pro-Am race earlier, and I was shocking, to be honest with you.
I can
You can testify to that. You've got the crowd turned against me as well there, Jimmy, to be fair.
Rightly
as well,
so.
Understandable, really. But but I just love the way these guys were able to get in the zone. I was paired with Cy Bishop, who sadly is not competing in this grand final, owing to a very difficult semi-final B. But I just love the way they're able to get in the zone, get themselves composed and calm. And Takuma Miyazono, nothing fazed him. When he's on form like this, he is absolutely untouchable, and that is what we're seeing out here tonight.
So you have to think the next driver on the same strategy him is Coco Lopez, and he's 6 seconds behind. And they're on the same strategy, on the same tyre, same grip, and he's pulled out 6 seconds on the Coco Lopez, and Lopez is not slow. He's a very quick driver in his own right. So we'll return to the front of the field. Jonathan Wong, we're 13 laps into this race and now nearly coming on to the 14th lap. I wonder when we're going to see our first pit stop from the guys trying the 2-stop strategy. So it's really nice to have a bit of variance, because usually everyone tries the same pit stop strategy, but of course some people are trying to find a better way through. PATRIK BLAZSAN's in a bit of a no man's land right now. He's in 3rd position. He does have Maraglino behind, and Cody's taken the position. So Cody has got a bit impatient there, and Cody goes up into 1st place. Now, will we see him put away? I just caught that out of the corner of my eye going down to T1. I was so sure he was going to stay in position, but maybe Jonathan Wong's a little bit slow. I think Cody thinks, right, I'm quicker now, let's get on with it and let's try and make a gap. So, here we are then. See already 4/10 of a second. Now the draft really is effective to about a second and a bit around him, maybe even 1.5 seconds. So Cody needs to bring that gap up now if he wants to make good on this situation. So here's a replay. We missed this on the broadcast. Coming through T1, comes up to the 1st chicane, late on the brakes, up he goes up the inside. Nice move, Cody, like that.
Not bad at all there for Cody Latkovski. As you said, is he going to pull the pin though? That is the crucial question for him. Half a second of gap now sits out between himself and Jonathan Wong. Does Wong though have anything left in the tank? Does he have an answer to it? Meanwhile, keeping an eye consistently on Takuma Miyazono, 1:19.8 last time around. He again is closing the gap down to Matt Simmons in front of him, but building that gap out now, sitting at 7.2 seconds to Coco Lopez, and he is looking very composed indeed. And as Jimmy said, in a very good position. Will it be a strategy that pays off? Let's wait and see how things go. We're now at the halfway stage in this race as the drivers come down in through T1, hard on the brakes into T2. Now Adam Saswillow is the first of the medium shot runners to make a pit stop. He's going onto the hard compound of tyres for the middle stages of this one, and not before time, because he only had 14 litres of fuel left in his tank. Puts a bit of fuel in, comes out of the pit lane. Where does he emerge in terms of the rest of his competition? Adam Saswillow, it's down in P8, it's in no man's land. He has got a bit of clear track, which will be something a bit welcome. But there is Takuma Miyazono, who is in 9th position, and of course on a quicker compound of tyre.
So again, a testament to Miyazono's speed. He's made 2 stops, and look, he's within someone who's only made 1 stop. That is the difference around here. And now Takuma is going to have to get past him as quick as he can. He cannot afford to be stuck behind anyone in this strategy. This is a hot lap strategy. It's all about just being as fast as possible, and still, that is his 5th lap time in a row in the 19s, and there's no one at all in the 20s apart from the French guys right at the back of the field.
Now, Takuma Miyazono, just to put in perspective why we're rating him so highly and waxing lyrical about him here tonight, looking through some of his stats last year, he took 3 wins, 3 podiums. His worst result in any of the World Tour races he partook in 2019 was 7th position. That's the best of any Nations Cup competitor. He is a driver who we hold in very high esteem, even if the results on paper don't necessarily warrant it. But look at how close he is as Cody Latkovski, the race leader, is in the pit lane onto the medium to the hard compound of tyres in the middle stages of this race. He boxes. Where will he emerge out on track? Danny Solis also in from the medium to the soft compound of tyres, but Takuma Miyazono, the driver we were talking about, is going to be very close indeed to try and find his way through, and I'm fairly sure if he hasn't managed it, it won't be long before he does find his way past. He is now into 5th position, and he's also got clear track in front of him. This has worked out beautifully for the Japanese driver.
It has, yeah. Miyazono now, he does have to stop again. Keep that in mind. There's going to be 1 more stop for Miyazono. Cody also has 1 more stop on the hard compound of tyre. I wonder if he'll just pit in end of his lap and get rid of it. I'm unsure. There's a lot of fuel went in there, so it makes you wonder why you'd put that in now, and maybe look to try and burn some of it now on the hard compound of tyres. Quite hard to get your head around the strategy, even for us here, of course, who are we're professionals. I say professionals in the loosest possible term, of course. And as Swillow comes back into the pit lane, he's fueling it right up now, so he's going to go. He's got 100 litres of fuel. That means he is going to go just as fast as he can now to the end of the race. So Adam now trying something a little bit different, but again, look at the gap between him and Miyazono. He's on a similar strategy. That's like 30 seconds.
Yeah, it's not insurmountable, but it's very hard to try and do that. Here is Jonathan Wong coming into the pit lane, then the race leader pits. on lap 16. Medium tyres he is onto the soft competitive tyres. Maraclino also to the pit. BLAZSAN as well, they go from the medium to the hard tyres respectively. Sugawara also following suit there as well. So Wong onto the soft competitive tyres here for his first pit stop in this race, but he has of course got to run another compound of tyres, does him at the moment. So Jonathan Wong, he started on the mediums, he's now going on to the softs. He's got to end this race on the hard tyres, and surely he's going to try and do that as late as he possibly can. Yeah,
big chunk of fuel going in as well, so opting to try and run heavy on the soft compounder tyre, it seems. That's an interesting strat there. We'll see how that goes. I mean, ideally you want to be running the soft tyres on a lighter fuel so you can really make the most of them, of course, but this is where these guys have to sit down and make that choice. Matt Simmons opting to come onto the soft compounder tyre as well, but Miyazono right now is up into second place. He's in second place right now. Again, still got that stop to make, but he's basically just going as fast as he can and trying to make up that pit stop whilst being out on the circuit. He will have a fuel stop as well, so it'll be quite a long stop for him, but we'll see what he can do. Still 13 laps left to run.
He's the de facto race leader, of course, as BLAZSAN has still got to make yet another stop in this race. So I'll be interested to see about these hard compound shod drivers. Will they try and get them off as soon as they possibly can, get themselves onto a faster compound before the end of this race? Well, they'll have to change tyres, of course, but will they do it as soon as they possibly can, or will they opt to run it for a few more laps? Here we ride on board with Cody, Nikola, Latkovski, the Australian driver then with Tatsuya Sugawara very close in front of him. Through into that right-hander we go. You can see Latkovski being very ginger on the brakes. He's coming in, though. He wants to get off those hard tyres as soon as he can, and I can't say I blame him. Sugawara in front, also following suit. They go on to the soft tyres, those two drivers.
Here we go then. This is going to be basically everyone linking, and now it's going to be a sprint to the end. There'll be a bit more fuel going into that car so it can make it to the end, probably around 80-90 litres or so, 85 or so by my reckoning, and my maths is pretty bad, so I don't have a word for it. But Sugawara, of course, on the softs as well. This is going to be interesting. I'm really curious as to how this is going to end now. 80 litres. Cody thinks he can save a little bit when he's out there as well, so he goes back onto the circuit. Where does he emerge? He emerges out in 9th place. Now, some of these guys still have to make another stop. I think Darush does. I think that Lopez does as well. So many different strategies here. It's quite hard to keep an eye on it all.
Yeah, it certainly is. So we'll keep an eye out and just work it all out. Now, here is Takuma Miyazono. He's in second position. He's on the soft competitive tyres, but we just saw the fuel light blinking, I think, on his car there. He's going to have to make a pit stop very soon. If it was... Oh, it's BLAZSAN, in fact. You're absolutely right. It's PATRIK BLAZSAN, so he's going to be pitting, no question, at the end of this lap. It's going to allow Takuma some clear track in front of him on that soft competitive tyres. And look at the gap he's been able to build out over Salvatore Maraclino over the last lap. 4 seconds that now sits at for the Japanese driver. BLAZSAN goes into the pit lane. Bit of a slide from Takuma Miyazono. Nothing really to worry too much about. And now Miyazono has got that clear track in front of him to try and pummel those laps in, pummel those times in, and then give himself enough of a buffer when he makes his final pit stop in this race. 11 laps remain here in the grand final of the Nations Cup for World Tour 1 of the 2020 FIA Gran Turismo Championships. It's anybody's game at the moment, but it is looking very strong indeed for Takuma Miyazono as things stand.
Remember, of course, at home to give us your idea and your vote for the driver of the day, Michelin driver of the day, hashtag Michelin FIA GTC. Let us know who you think has performed well. They might even get a nice hat later on if we treat them well. So, but now, yes, Miyazono has been released. He now has to just go as quick as he can. Basically, every lap is going to be a qualifying lap. Think back to Schumacher, Hungary. Is it back in 98? 98? It's
yeah.
That sort of performance from Miyazono, pretty much since lap 3 or lap 4. If he can pull this off, it'll be one of the best drives we've ever seen at a World Tour event. But he still owes a stop. Coque Lopez, there you go. He's got his fuel light flashing there. You can see in the bottom left-hand corner. There is Miyazono. He needs to come in at the end of this lap. He'll put in a bit more fuel, and then it'll be a sprint to the end between himself, Wong, and where is Cody? Cody's making a second stop as well. So I think Wong maybe has strategized himself out of the opportunity of a podium right now, but that's what's fun. In he comes, and 1 litre left in the tank. He was really eking that out. That is calculated.
That is as good as it possibly gets there for Takuma Miyazono. We know how impressive he is. He comes in, he's got to take fuel on board. This is going to seem like an eternity. He's sat there trying to get this fuel in the car. Don't worry, though, about the likes of Darush and Coque Lopez. They've still got to make another stop in this race, respectively, as well. So they will have to stop. Now, how much fuel is he going to take on board? on this one, just enough to get him to the end. There's only 10 laps that are remaining, but of course he wants to have a little bit more in his tank, just in case he has to squabble with anybody else out there on track and be able to go flat out as fast as he possibly can.
I think he overfueled a tiny bit there for that reason exactly, Tom, to go just as quick as he can with no one in his way. So there goes BLAZSAN. That's very important for the race. So PATRIK BLAZSAN has managed to jump Miyazono, and they're now fighting on circuit. They're going to be scrapping to the end. Now this could end up being a fight for lead. Miyazono gets it wrong on exit there. I think maybe called himself down a little bit in the pit lane. That happens when you're there putting in hot laps. The adrenaline's running, and then you're forced to stop and be calm for a while. You get back out, and then that same adrenaline isn't quite there. You've got to just ramp back up to it again. So we have Baptiste Beauvoir. More importantly for Cody Nikola, he's got about 9 seconds between himself and Miyazono, and he does not have to pit again. So this is going to have to be an absolutely titanic here drive for Miyazono if he wants to pull this off.
Yeah, he's going to have to really pull something out of the bag, as you said, Jimmy, because he is now in the turbulent air of PATRIK BLAZSAN. He'll have the advantage of the slipstream. Now here's Randarous coming to the pit lane. Coque Lopez also following suit as well. So those two drivers coming in, the Frenchman and the Spaniard from the front of this race. Jonathan Wong, of course, will take over at the front in this one, as you begin to expect. Randarous, no fuel left in the car as well. Coque Lopez with 1 litre. You said about calculated, Jimmy. You were absolutely spot on there, because these drivers are pushing it to the extreme here in this grand final, and you can see them just sat there waiting. Coque Lopez. Latkovski comes through now and takes over 3rd position in this one. Latkovski, of course, on a different strategy call to those around him. Is it going to be something that pays off for the Australian? We've been busy looking at Takuma Miyazono, who has gotten the better of PATRIK BLAZSAN. He's managed to get ahead of him. He's now through into 4th place, and crucially, he's got that clear track in front of him. 9 laps now remain.
So right, as things stand, it's 5 seconds between Miyazono, this man here, and Cody Latkovski. So here's the overtake, just nice up the inside, done and dusted very quickly, just calculated again. He is not going to be held up, Miyazono. But at the moment, when all the strategies are done, because Jonathan Wong and Danny Solis have to lead, Cody will be leading this race. So it's going to be a sprint to the finish. What has Miyazono got left in the tank? He's already gaining, but PATRIK BLAZSAN is trying to go with him. Now, the last thing Miyazono wants, or PATRIK wants really, is to fight. They don't need to fight right now. If they do, they're going to just give free time away to Cody and to the guys in front.
The stats have a lot more to lose than they do to gain. You're absolutely right. It's going to be interesting to see how it all plays out, but you can see BLAZSAN is looking very dicey indeed. That slipstream is so pronounced in these cars. Slight lift there from PATRIK BLAZSAN. He's going to try and work with Takuma Miyazono here. This is his best bet there, BLAZSAN. If he gets involved in the squabble, as you say, he's going to be giving up time. It's not going to do any favours for the Hungarian driver. We know how calm both of these guys are in terms of their demeanour, and the best thing they can do is just work together here in these stages of this race. Down in towards T1 we go. BLAZSAN again lifting off. Gingerly on the brakes through there as well, not allowing Takuma Miyazono to close up and pull away too much.
So you think if he pulls this off, he is in for a podium. It will be his first ever podium here at a World Tour event for PATRIK BLAZSAN. So there's a big chance here he can get this done. We'll have to wait and see. We'll see what happens. There's still, again, 8 laps left of this race. There's been quite a lot of action, actually, for a race like this. I assumed it would be quite quiet, but it's just one of those races which has to unfold. That's the great joy, I think, of watching a longer race, as all the strategies play out, and then you see how it all works out, and then towards the end you get this great big crescendo as they all just come together, and you get a very notable, very scary finish, usually, if you're one of the guys commentating. Oh, I am. Oh, no. So, Miyazono, here he is. Oh, just kicking up some sparks on the wall there. Leaving a little bit of paintwork there for the marshals to clean up after he's done. That's very kind of Takuma. I'm sure they'll appreciate that. PATRIK BLAZSAN, will he go for the insides here? Will he stay where he is? Still there. They're working now. The gap has come down from Miyazono to Cody by about a second in the last couple of laps. And let's look at lap times here. Yeah, at the moment, Miyazono is actually lapping about half a second faster.
Just have a look down in the audience. Safe fuel.
That's right. Get the safe fuel sign there.
At least it's not written on a bit of cardboard.
Yeah, I mean, my cardboard sign still sits in the shed, bless it. Well, it's very much ignored. But yeah, safe fuel, that's right. I'm sure he's thinking that right now. But the thing is with Miyazono is he put enough fuel in, I think, to go to the end. So he's pushing now. PATRIK, maybe not. So it's hard to work out.
These are all the variables you've got to be considering. Now 7 laps remaining here as well. I tell you what, testament to Jonathan Wong. He's done a really good job of keeping that gap at a constant to Danny Solis, who's been in P2. And Solis has had a bit of a quiet race, but for that one slip and a slide that we saw in the early stages of this one. But both of those two we think, out of contention for the race victory as things stand. It's Takuma Miyazono, PATRIK, BLAZSAN and Cody Latkovski who are the three drivers we think that will be going toe-to-toe for this race win as it comes down into the closing stages. Flicking it through that chicane there for Miyazono, who's just pulled out a couple of car lengths over PATRIK BLAZSAN here, just keeping his nose very clean. You can see an incident is under investigation between Randarouche and Adam Saswillo, and a collision there, you would imagine, for Saswillo being the disadvantaged driver, because Randarouche on the timing screens at least is ahead as things stand, but we'll hopefully get a replay of that and confirmation as to what has happened. It's going to be interesting to see how it all plays out between those guys. Now, here is Cody Latkovski, third position. We just saw Takuma Miyazono just going through his shot, and that gap has come down quite significantly. It's really shrunk. 3.2 seconds it now sits at. What are the lap times, Jimmy?
We've got a fastest lap of the race from PATRIK BLAZSAN with a 19.6, and they are both lapping about a second a lap faster than Cody here on course. So Cody, I think, really starting to suffer with tyre wear on that soft compound. He's going to have to defend from Miyazono and from BLAZSAN. This is going to come down to the wire, this race, as we knew it would. It always seems to in Nations Cup. Of course, Jonathan Wong and Danny Solis first and second, still both owing a pit stop at the moment, which we'll probably see a bit towards the end of the race. But right now, Miyazono and PATRIK BLAZSAN, they are coming through the field at a rate of knots. And the way PATRIK BLAZSAN is looking as close as he can get to Miyazono, he's also in contention for the win. There they are in the background there. You can see them now in the same shot coming through the chicane. Cody is having to work as hard as he can to keep these tyres alive, but it seems like a losing battle. Let's see if we can get another look back through the track, coming now down to the hairpin. You can just see him pop into frame there, and you saw as well in front Danny Solis. We're catching him on circuit, so really Cody's only hope now is to catch Danny, get a bit of a draft, and then hope to try and defend to the end.
It's getting very exciting indeed. 5 laps remaining here for the grand final. Over the line we go. Cody Latkovski has got it all to do, but I don't know if it's going to be quite enough for the Australian driver. The crowd here at Sydney would love to see him doing well, but he's got a very fast charging Takuma Miyazono and PATRIK BLAZSAN who are fighting for this victory behind, and you can see visibly how much that gap has shrunk over the last few laps. We can see from the lap times on our telemetry here as well how different it is between them. BLAZSAN in the 1:20 for the first time, but Takuma Miyazono still lapping in the 1:19s. By comparison, Cody Latkovski's last lap was a 1:20.6. So you can see Latkovski is really struggling compared to Takuma Miyazono here.
It's about 8 tenths a lap at the moment, Tom, between these two, and we've got 5 laps left. If you're any good at maths, that means that Miyazono will be on Cody before the end of this race. In fact, you can just see how much this gap has come down now. You see Miyazono, you see he's starting to think about it, heart rate's rising a little bit. He's really concentrating right now, and that's the most difficult thing you can do if you're Takuma Miyazono right now. You know you have a chance at winning this. Don't think about anything else until the job is done, until you cross the line. Keep your concentration at hand. Look at the line through there, absolutely beautiful. This is a man who is in supreme control of his car right now. He's in hunt mode, and he is hunting down Cody Latkovski. And time again, another decent lap, a 19.7, but PATRIK BLAZSAN behind, he's coming with him. It's a 19.5 from PATRIK BLAZSAN, who's, you can see on the relative, right there he is behind us. PATRIK BLAZSAN's coming through too. So Cody has got not one, but 2 people behind him at the moment.
This is very exciting indeed. Hold on to your hats, ladies and gentlemen, because it is about to go down to the wire. We know that they're only battling for third place on your screen at the moment, but Jonathan Wong and Danny Solis, if you've just joined us, have still got to make a pit stop. This is the battle for the de facto race lead in the grand final, and of course the overall win in the Nations Cup for World Tour 1 here in Sydney. It is hugely exciting. There is a lot of pressure on these drivers, and they have been absolutely out of their skin for the last 30 minutes or so, and it is coming right down to a cliffhanger, which is what we absolutely adore about the FIA Gran Turismo Championships. We love seeing the best drivers in the best machinery going to...
Oh, PATRIK BLAZSAN! He's in the wall, Tom! He's made a mistake going through, he's gone! He's out!
I think you're right, you're absolutely spot on. That is so disappointing there for PATRIK BLAZSAN. Oh, it has, it's cost him dear. He's going tumbling down the order, and we were just saying about the pressure that PATRIK BLAZSAN was under, and there you go, it is all boiled over for him, sadly. That is just so disappointing. I really want to see a replay for PATRIK BLAZSAN, and that is massively, massively disappointing. The wind will have really been knocked out of his sails after that one. His best result in a World Tour event was third place in the grand final in Monaco last year. We thought he could be on for challenging for the victory, but right when it mattered for the Hungarian driver, a simple mistake, a very easy mistake to make at that point in the lap has cost him very dear indeed.
Oh, Patrick, mate, that is you hate to see stuff like that happen towards the end of the race. He was looking so good, but of course it's not a 27-lap race, it's a 30-lap race. And unfortunately for him, that's him out of contention. I think he just clipped the inside of the second part of the chicane, which just sent him very quickly to the scene of the accident, as you say, Tom. So, yeah, not great for him. But we still have a fight going on. It's now down to two. Cody, Nikola Latkovski from Australia, Takuma Miyazono from Japan. This is going to go down to the wire. We still have Danny Solis and Jonathan Wong yet to pit now. I think, thankfully for Cody, starting to catch Danny. He might be starting to get a sniff of a draft now, which will be helping him along a little bit. But it doesn't matter because Miyazono is a lot closer. This is really going to be Cody, is going to be just having his eyes in his mirrors for the entirety of the left race. A bit of a flash there for Miyazono too. This is going down to the wire.
And the thing is, you can bet that Jonathan Wong and Danny Solis, they're going to be pitting onto the last lap because they only want to run one lap on the hard compound of tyres here.
You see the crowd chanting, "Let's go, Cody!" That's right. Their home audience is right behind Cody at the moment, but he's got a lot to do. 2 and a bit laps remaining. Danny Solis in front. A very, very fast Miyazono behind. I think he might have burnt his tyres a little bit though, so this might not be it. He's actually starting to drop back a little bit. This might be the boost that Cody needs, or maybe he's just trying to time things a bit better. We'll have to wait and see. Now, really, what Cody needs to happen now is for Danny just to get out of the way as soon as he can, so he can focus on just making an effort. Look how much Miyazono just gains in there on the braking zone. Oh, he's sideways out of there. That would cost him a little bit of time, but we really are getting in now to the point where Miyazono has to make a move, but it's going to be now or never.
Just to remind you, neither of these drivers have won a World Tour event in the past. Cody Latkovski, he's come very close indeed, finishing second on multiple occasions in 2019. Takuma Miyazono has also bagged a few podiums, but these guys are going toe-to-toe, bumper to bumper, and this is going to be hugely exciting to see how it all plays out. Miyazono is closer than ever against Cody Latkovski. Is he going to try and find his way past? We ride on board with Takuma Miyazono. Is he going to launch something down the inside into the chicane of T2? He pulls out the slipstream, he goes hard on the brakes. Miyazono side by side with Latkovski. He tries to run him out into the curb. He's still side by side, but Miyazono's got the outside line. There's contact between the two. Then he goes through into the race lead. Miyazono is in front here into third place. I said the race lead, I know it's third on the track, but of course Solis and Wong have still got to make their pit stops, and this is the battle essentially for the win in this grand final.
It's not over yet though, because Danny Solis is in front right now. He'll be keeping Miyazono behind. Here's a replay, but we're coming down to an overtaking point in the circuit. I'd much rather be watching that, to be honest. Miyazono, here he is, going to the inside. Yes, we've seen that. Come on, let's go past that. There's Latkovski, they're side by side right now. Here we go, back onto the on-track action. Cody's back through. No, he's not. He's past Danny Solis, sorry. So now he's chasing Miyazono. He's going to be in the grand position, though, of having the toe going down to T1. If he can stay at Miyazono through, having to lift a little bit there. He's in the draft now. It's going to come down to the final lap. Will he go to the inside here, or will he wait? Looks to the inside, will come down to the brakes now. And he's there. Danny Solis is going to be inside. Watch out, Danny. You've got a pit, mate. One comes into the pits. He's going onto the hard compound tyre. Miyazono is sideways there. And now this is Cody's chance. He has to be in the draft. Weaving in front is Miyazono trying to break the slipstream. I'm not sure if Cody is going to be close enough. Here he comes though, 310. He's got the overspeed, looks to the outside. No, he stays behind for now.
On the final lap then here, the battle for the race lead and the win of the Nations Cup in World Tour 1 for the 2020 FIA Gran Turismo Championship. It's Miyazono who's led the way here, now leading the way on the final lap with a brilliant strategy, that 3-stopper, and it's paying off beautifully. Can Cody Latkovski on home soil do anything? Is he going to come under too much pressure? Will he have something in the locker? Will he think about a lunge down the inside into the final corner? You can see him there with the draft coming in through the left-hander as they come down now. Latkovski's on a great run. Miyazono goes defensive. He's going to have to go hard on the brakes very shortly. Ducks under the slipstream. Latkovski goes to the outside. Miyazono on the inside. He's not going to be able to find his way past there. Surely it's Latkovski, and Miyazono does hold on for the race lead coming into this chicane.
So here we are, the last part of the lap going through the chicane. Miyazono touches the wall. Cody's right up with him now. He's on the slipstream. Miyazono goes defensive to the inside. This is the last lap of the race coming down to the last corner. Cody looks to the outside. Can he go a long way round? the two. Miyazono holds the inside. Cody will try and keep it there, still side by side. It's a drag race to the line. Who's there? Cody there. And it's going to be Miyazono by the smallest margin. 3/10 of a second, not even that, sorry, 300ths of a second. Jonathan Wong in third, Maraglino fourth, and that is the closest finish we have ever had at a Gran Turismo World Tour event. Oh, my word, what a finish!